Aloha! Thank you for joining us here at TruthMadeEasy.com as we continue with our Apologetics Made Easy video training course. In this video, Truth Matters, we're going to see examples of just how much truth matters.
Oh goody, an honest and fact-based apologetics video.
We've already talked about the importance of truth when it comes to money, family, medicine, investments, and so on. Here we're going to talk about truth and how it matters when it comes to religious beliefs.
Wait a minute, you said truth matters, but then you're going to start talking about religion? I don't see this going very well for you.
What we believe to be the truth can lead to good, bad, or indifferent behavior. Take, for example, the beliefs of Hinduism. Hinduism teaches that when we die, we are reincarnated, and that there is something called karma. For many who follow Hinduism, it's okay to ignore the cries of the suffering, since their suffering may be something they deserve because of things that they might have done in a former life. If you try to help them, you may be interfering with their karma.
Actually, a large part of spiritual Hinduism's history involves a yearning to find a lasting solution to the problem of human suffering. For Vedic Hinduism, it was through knowledge of the Vedas, the oldest scriptures of Hinduism believed to be not of human origin. Virtuous conduct and obligatory duty were key to ending suffering. In the Upanishadic era, people known as seers took a different approach. They focused on the hidden causes of suffering and tried resolving it internally with things like cultivating purity, fortitude, sameness, stability, equanimity, and balance. All that being said, you did not mention dharma, which is what they actually use to govern their societal responsibilities, not karma, you fucking liar. I thought you said truth matters. It is tough to explain, I know, but ignoring it like you did, just to make an invalid point, is dishonest. And in a video about truth, it is unforgivable. Let me try to explain dharma. Dharma is a set of standards to live by. And only in times of prosperity for a society can dharma actually be followed. They believe that during times of poverty and other suffering, dharma cannot be followed. And in their desire to follow dharma, they actually have a very strong motivator to end suffering so that they can once again follow dharma.
On the other end of the spectrum, a woman named Mother Teresa embraced the religious truth of Christianity that God wants us to reach out and help those who are suffering.
Really? You're going to be stupid enough to reference Mother Teresa when trying to make a point about ending human suffering? Oh, I gotta hear this.
So she was moved to help them. For one, truth leads them to ignore, while the other helps. Now, if we were to ask the many people touched by Mother Teresa's compassion, we could be sure that they would say that truth matters.
Oh, you misleading, lazy fucker. We can't really ask the people that were touched by Mother Teresa's compassion about her because they're all dead as a result of her compassion. So we can just look at what she did and said herself. She glorified human suffering. She did not relieve it. She believed that all those sick and dying people suffering was a good thing, that it glorified her God. As far as the poor were concerned, she called them victims of God's love. She created a group of nuns whose job it was to be poor. She did not have homes for the sick to receive medical attention. She had homes of the dying, which only served to warehouse the sick and dying until they were too weak to protest being baptized into the Catholic Church. The staff of these places couldn't even tell whether an illness was curable or not. They were all bunched together, storing those who could be cured with those who could not, and even with those with contagious diseases. She publicly supported policies that led directly to increasing human suffering among the people she said she was helping. She said being indifferent to their suffering was important to her work. I can go on and on about this, but I'll just end with a quote. In a 2005 article in the New Statesman, reporter Donald McIntyre had this to say about the state of Mother Teresa's Missionaries of Charity. Quote, earlier in the day, young international volunteers had giggled as one told how a young boy had peed on her while strapped to a bed. I had already been told of an older disturbed woman tied to a tree at another Missionaries of Charity home. At the orphanage, few of the volunteers batted an eyelid at disabled children being tied up. They were too intoxicated with the myth of Mother Teresa and drunk on their own philanthropy to see that such treatment of children was inhumane and degrading." Unquote.
Let's look at another example of how truth matters when it comes to religion. As we know, there are many good, peace-loving Muslims in the world. On the other hand, there are militant Muslims and suicide bombers who believe that the truth, as they read it in the Quran, is that it's okay to kill non-Muslims. Does truth matter? Ask those affected by 9/11. Ask those who lost loved ones when militant Muslims flew planes into the World Trade Center.
I don't see what point you're trying to make with this one. We know that not all Muslims are a certain way, but some Muslims are a certain way, and those Muslims interpret the Quran a certain way that says to kill non-Muslims, therefore Christianity is truth. This doesn't make any sense. Keep in mind that I could be pointing out and identifying the loads of logical fallacy you've used so far, but I've chosen to dispute the message as opposed to the way it is presented, because not only is apologetics fallacious at its core, but has a faulty message as well.
Here's another example where truth matters. A woman is pregnant. Now, some believe she's carrying a baby. Others believe that what's inside the womb is nothing more than, well, what they call a non-human tissue mass.
Yeah, I'm going to have to see a citation on that one, because I don't think any doctors or pro-choicers or anyone's ever referred to a fetus as a non-human tissue mass.
These are very contrary truths. Those who hold the truth that what's inside the woman is not human life think it's okay to abort the child. Truth really matters here. It's the difference between life and death of an innocent child. By the way, isn't it amazing what happens when this so-called non-human travels from inside the womb to inside the room? By simply changing location, a miracle occurs. Inside the womb, it's a tissue mass. But once it leaves the mother's womb and it's inside the room, it's a human being. Inside the room, it's a crime to terminate the child. But inside the womb, some say, it's okay to terminate and abort the mass. Again, truth matters.
Okay, this is a tough one for me. There is no federally set standard by which every state has to follow for abortion. For example, California law allows abortion as late as 24 weeks. As far as I am concerned, this is way too far into the pregnancy to be getting an abortion that is not a life-saving procedure for the mother. This is 2/3 of the way through a 9-month pregnancy. 6 months is too long to decide whether or not you want to terminate a pregnancy, regardless of how that pregnancy occurred. No amount of excuses can justify such a long wait. I am pro-choice, mind you, but I am not pro making that choice at your leisure 6 months into the pregnancy. Anywhere from 10 to 16 weeks is sufficient. At the 10-week mark, the embryo is referred to as a fetus, and after 16 weeks, the fetus hits a growth spurt and is typically just before the sex of the fetus is formed. This is 2.5 to 4 months of pregnancy. Again, these are my personal standards of judging the issue, and I would never presume to tell an individual woman with a particular set of circumstances what she can and cannot do. I would, however, encourage a woman who can safely have a child to do so after the 16-week mark.
In our next video, we'll see how truth matters for each of us on the other side of the grave, for all eternity, for time without end.
Oh goody, I can't wait.